Hey, beautiful people. Okay, so I'm coming at you today with part two of why what we eat is actually important. Okay, and so today I'm going to talk all about convenient foods, and why they're not actually convenient, right? So I already said right. I'm going to try not to do that so much today. But I'm sorry if I say right a million times. So I totally understand that convenient foods are convenient for time's sake and effort's sake. Hey, Jessie, what up, girl? Um, and I get that, right? Like I'm so lazy. I want things to be quick and simple and, bing, bang, boom, we're done. So I totally get it. And sometimes we need things to be quick and convenient like that. Hello, we're all busy all the time. But when we actually start to break down what's actually happening in the body, when we have these quick foods, these processed foods, these fast foods, and the symptoms that we face because of these foods and what's going on in the body, then we really start to recognize that they're not convenient at all, right? So I heard a story recently in my latest nutrition training, and it really resonated with me because it talked about McDonald's. And you know how much I love McDonald's, right? Or how much I used to love McDonald's. And so let me just tell you this little story about how the body is trying to break down these certain foods, okay? So she was talking about, in my training, we were talking about how fat takes the longest to digest out of the macronutrients, okay? Out of the protein, carbs, and fats, fats take the longest to digest. And now the average person can't really process more than about 10 grams of fat per hour. And now fast food meals can contain anywhere from 50 to 60, 70 grams of fat within one meal. And this is like bad fats, right? This isn't even a nice healthy avocado fat or something. This is like bad fats. There's so many, right? So think about it. If you have a Big Mac and fries, which was one of my go-tos for a long, long time, you have a Big Mac and fries at 7 p.m. that's full of all these fats. Your body can only handle about 10 grams of fat per hour. And so it's just kind of sitting in your body. Your body is overloaded. It's like, whoa, trying to just do all these processes to break it down. And so you have this meal at 7 p.m. The fat may not even leave the stomach until 1 a.m. And that's just getting started. That doesn't mean digestion is anywhere near complete. That's just the fats leaving the stomach at 1 a.m. And long story short, that meal could stay in your system for over 2 full days just trying to be broken down. Over 2 full days. And that's just that one meal. Anywhere up to like 72 hours, your body is still working on breaking down that food. And that's just the one meal, like I said. It's not even all the other foods that you've put in your system since then, or if you've had another fast food meal since then. You know what I mean? So think about how taxing that is on your body. We think, oh, it's so convenient, but then your body is working on it for days trying to break it down. And that is so stressful on your body. And get this, digestion in general is the biggest stressor that your system faces every single day. Digestion in general. And I think I said that last time. That's with healthy digestion. Digesting real foods that your body knows how to break down, it's still stressful on your body. It's one of those things that we have to face every day. Ooh, that digestion. So many things are happening within your body when you're trying to break down food. And it just becomes so much harder when we eat foods that your body doesn't actually know how to break down, because it's full of all of these chemicals, these additives that are designed to increase shelf life. These foods are designed to last for way longer so they don't break down. Or have you seen the video about the ramen noodles? So a doctor did a study recently, I don't know how recently, but he had different people swallow this camera and then ingest a bunch of different types of ramen noodles. And the homemade ramen noodles basically broke down like normal food, but those ramen noodles that we all know and love and had in college would sit in there for hours and not look any different. Hours. And you'd still see that perfect noodle shape. I mean, you can look up the video and see. So imagine, again, how hard that is on your body. And that's just the noodles. That's not even talking about that flavor packet. Right? Let's not even talk about the flavor packet. But yeah, so things like that just become so hard on the body. And remember what I said last week, that those processed foods are really hard on the body because your body is using its own nutrients and energy to break down those foods. And then those foods are so devoid of nutrients within themselves that there's nothing to replace the nutrients that have been lost simply trying to break down the food. So we're actually depleting our bodies of nutrients by eating those foods. Does that make sense? And so that's when we go around being malnourished, even though we're eating plenty. We're not going hungry, but we're devoid of nutrients. We are deprived of nutrients. Ugh, and then that's when we start to feel exhausted. Our systems are exhausted from this constant trying to digest and break down and then losing nutrients and not having them replaced. And that's when we can start feeling hungry all the time. It's like we can never feel full, because when we're hungry, our body is hungry for nutrients, right? It's not just calories. The body is hungry for nutrients. Hey, Christina, thanks for tuning in and giving me a thumbs up. All right. So, yeah. Let me look at my notes now. And so this is when we start to really tune into how these foods are not convenient for us. Because let's start talking about the things that we feel when we have these foods. So energy depletion, right? Because our bodies are exhausted from constantly trying to digest. Plus, we're losing out on valuable nutrients by eating these processed foods because they're so hard to break down and don't have the nutrients we need to replace them. Let's talk about how it affects our sleep. When you have that McDonald's meal that's full of all the bad fats and all of that stuff, and it stays in your system for days, guess what? Overnight, your body is designed to rest and repair, detox and repair, so that you can wake up feeling energized and healthy and good. But when that food is staying in your system for so long because it can't break down properly, your body has no choice overnight but to only focus on digestion. It can't do those reparative things that it should be doing. So it affects your sleep, and then you wake up feeling exhausted. And then when you wake up feeling exhausted, what do? You start to reach for sugary foods, right? To look for that quick energy, right? It can lead to more cravings. That's not convenient. It leads to you feeling hungrier throughout your day because your body is looking for nutrients. That's not convenient. It's not convenient to feel so tired. It's not convenient to be in a bad mood, because these foods are also going to contribute to the health of your gut. And when you've got an unhealthy gut, that can easily affect your mood. Most of the serotonin that's produced in your body is produced in your gut. So when your gut's all off, right, we're going to start to have weird mood issues sometimes. It affects our immune function. You're lowering your immune function. That's not convenient. Having headaches isn't convenient. Having upset stomachs is not convenient. Having acid reflux is not convenient. That feels terrible. Having gallstones in Japan is not convenient, right? I know that from personal experience. Having to pull over, you're driving somewhere and you got to pull over to a gas station to have like an emergency bathroom situation. That's not convenient. You know what I mean? And so all of these things really add up. And they are so inconvenient. They are not worth that time-saving aspect of these processed foods, because it is just making it so hard on your body. And then in turn, you feel miserable. And that is not convenient. Hi, Mom. Thanks for tuning in and commenting. Yeah, do you see how all of this is starting to add up? And we kind of think that, like I said, trust me, I understand convenience, like the need for time. I hate cooking. I hate grocery shopping. Like, let's be real honest here. I get it. And I used to love fast food. But now that I know how good I can feel eating real food, that's where the convenience lies. Being able to wake up and be productive at work and have energy and be in a good mood. You know, you have the energy and clarity and focus to get things done. That's when taking that extra time to prepare meals and cook at home, it's worth it. It pays off in the end, right? So let's talk about how to make it convenient on your body, right? Digestion is always going to be stressful in the system, but how can we make it the least amount of stressful possible so that we can feel really good and have more energy to do all the other things that we want to be doing? Well, obviously, step number one is eating more real whole foods that your body knows how to process and break down. By doing that, those foods that actually break down on their own. Remember that saying, if mold doesn't eat it, neither should you? Because foods are made to be easily broken down and broken down in the body to turn into nutrients that our bodies can thrive off of. And so by eating those foods that naturally break down easier, that's just going to make it 10 times easier on your system. And you're going to feel really good and have more energy to do all the other things. So eating real whole foods and eating whole foods that your body can process properly. And that's when personal experimentation becomes really important. Because of course there are foods that are generally considered healthy, but for whatever reason, your body may not be able to break those down as well as someone else's, because our bodies are completely different from one another, right? And so I could sit here and tell you to eat kale all day long because it's healthy, but if kale makes you feel bloated and disgusting, then that's not really healthy for you, is it? And so that's why personal experimentation is really important. And that's something that I always do with my clients because it's so important. Once you start to tune into the feedback from your body, you learn what foods are healthiest for you that make you feel really good, right? That's when like a meal plan, is that going to tell you what's best for your body? Not necessarily, right? So finding foods that are right for your body specifically. And then of course, how you eat is going to make it really easy or difficult on your digestive system, but that'll be another video for another day. But generally, having real whole foods is going to make it so much easier on your system. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I'm not just checking my phone in the middle of the video. But say you can't always have real whole foods that you prepare at home, and sometimes you are just going to want to buy packaged goods. And then that is when reading ingredient lists becomes super necessary, okay? And this does not mean reading the front of a package, where the front of the package can make it seem like the healthiest product in the world, but that is not the case. And the more that you start to read ingredient lists, you'll realize that. So the front of a package could easily say, heart healthy, all natural, you know, low fat, fat-free, gluten-free, whatever. But then when you read the ingredient lists, there's all kinds of craziness in there that your body can't process, and all kinds of added sugars and all of this. So when it comes to reading ingredient lists, just keep this in mind. This is more than just reading those percentages at the top. This means reading actual ingredients. And so keep in mind, the best thing that you can do for your body is to eat foods that are in their most natural state. So typically that means if you're reading an ingredient list, it's probably about 5 ingredients or less, right? The shorter the ingredient list, the better. And you want to be able to read all the words and pronounce all the words. You want them to sound like food because that's going to mean it's closest to its natural form. Whereas certain things, you'll start to notice the ingredient list is this long with a bunch of things that sound like chemicals, right? Dyes and chemicals and things you can't pronounce. And the longer the ingredient list, the harder it probably is for your body to process it. Hi, Petra. So keep it simple. Look for foods with the smallest list of ingredients with words that you can pronounce that sound like real food, and that's going to mean it's closest to its natural state. And so I wanted to just give you a quick example. So one of my favorite examples is peanut butter, because I think it's really easy to think, well, peanut butter's peanut butter, right? And they're all kind of created equal, you know, and maybe you think it's healthy in general, or maybe you don't think it's healthy, whatever. But so here's an example of how to just eat the same thing. Like, you don't have to change what you're eating, but you can make it easier on your body by reading the ingredients. So I found this one peanut butter, okay? It's reduced fat Jif, okay? And so first of all, if you think reduced fat is the healthy way to go, it's time to let go of that, because when food manufacturers take the fat out of food to make them reduce fat, they have to add something to make up for it. Otherwise, it tastes like crap. It's just missing something, right? So they add sugar. So then you're just getting all kinds of sugar. And we know that that leads to all kinds of mayhem in your body and all these diseases and stuff, right? So we don't like that. We want to eat foods that are closest to their natural state, which means if they've got fat, eat the natural fats, right? And so when we look at this reduced fat Jif, when you actually look at the ingredients, it lists peanuts, corn syrup solids, sugar, pea protein, salt, fully hydrogenated vegetable oils, which are these inflammatory oils that are incredibly hard on your body, right? They might raise bad cholesterol and lower good cholesterol and cause inflammation and blah, 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 blah. Mono and diglycerides, molasses, magnesium oxide, niacinamide, see, I don't even know how to say these, ferric orthophosphate, zinc oxide, copper sulfate, folic acid, pyridoxine hydrochloride, right? What are those? What are those? Those don't sound like food. And then remember that the first few ingredients listed are the ingredients that are most present in that food. And so this lists peanuts and then 2 types of sugar as the top 3 ingredients. Why do we need all that sugar? We don't. So that's one type of peanut butter where you may have just always had that in your family, right? And why would you think otherwise? I don't know. My parents bought reduced fat Jif. This is what I like. This is what I've had, right? But so you can compare that to, say, peanut butter that I've gotten recently at Publix. That's the 2 ingredients are peanuts and sea salt. Nothing else, right? Or there's peanut butter out there, trust, where the only ingredient is peanuts. Thrive Market, organic creamy peanut butter, the only ingredient is organic peanuts. You feel me? And so something as simple as that, just reading the ingredient list and choosing the one that has the fewest ingredients, that's closest to its natural state, that alone can make it so much easier on your body to process. And you can do this with anything. Just read the ingredients and say, how can I get the best quality of this food? Which of these frozen packaged meals have the least amount of ingredients? That seems the most natural. Maybe you want to buy frozen veggies, you know, and you can get one that says butternut squash as the ingredient. But then there might be another frozen butternut squash that then has butter, salt, sugar, who knows what else added, right? So just by reading the ingredients, you can become that much more aware of what's actually in your food. And by choosing the ones that are closer to their most natural state, it's going to make it that much easier on your body to process them. And then that means less stress on your system, which means more energy for you, boost your metabolism. You're probably storing less fat because your body is under less stress, right? So it all trickles over into just creating a healthier, less stressful environment for your body. And then, of course, like I said already, the easiest way to boost your digestive power is by eating real whole foods that you prepare at home. And so I want you to ask this question. I know so many of you are so busy, and you might be thinking, yeah, this sounds good, but I have to go through the drive-through on these certain days, or, you know, like I just have no time. But I just want you to ask the question, if you were to have more energy, what could you use that for? If your body wasn't overloaded with these processed foods or these fast foods, that then you know all these symptoms that you might be facing because of it, because we've already listed them, and I'm sure there's way more than I even said. You know, what might be possible for you if you don't experience those? And if you have more energy, easier digestion, better moods, better sleep, what might be possible for you then? And that's going to feel a lot more motivating to tune into those than just, well, you should be eating real whole foods. So just get a little curious and ask yourself, and then from there you can decide, well, where can I commit to spending a little extra time on making some home-cooked meals? How can I make this easy? Google that stuff. Easy one-pan quick meals, right? Sheet pan meals. I'm telling you, your meals don't have to be these like gourmet, super time-consuming, really intense things all the time. You can whip some stuff up together really quickly that's going to taste awesome and be really good on your body. Trust me, that's the only kind of stuff that I'll cook, if it's in one pan, right, with minimal steps. So that's my video today. It went a little longer than I wanted it to, doesn't it always? But I'd love to hear what stuck out to you. If anything was new information or helpful or useful to you, please let me know in the comments. And I will be seeing you guys again really soon. Bye-bye.